What's up, everyone? Rasati out here in Singapore, and it has been a very long time. This remainder of season 5 is actually going to be done in retrospect, mostly because 2021 was very difficult for me and I had a tough time kind of putting my thoughts together in a cohesive manner, enough for you to be able to understand where I was coming from, because I was experiencing a high level of tension and stress within myself and in my immediate surroundings. So, that being said, I find myself in a position to kind of lead into all of the content I'm about to drop on this podcast before, yes, before I start season 6. So, at the moment where things stand, I am sitting in my room in, January 21st of 2022. And the last podcast episode I created was episode 1064, I believe. And that would have stopped just before my birthday last year. I turned 40 last year. And there was a lot of things I was suddenly taking inventory of, because that's what we do at milestone birthdays, right? We kind of go back, look at, what have we done so far? What have we accomplished? I thought I'd be so much further along by now, blah, blah, blah. But as I was taking inventory, I noticed that there were a great many things that I had started and never finished. There were a lot of things that I had invited that I thought would end up differently but did not. There were, ideas that I had that I put along, on the wayside for a while, because there wasn't space enough with the things that I was inviting into my life. There wasn't space enough for me to continue and, complete some of the things that I wanted to accomplish. So part of that is I have a relationship that I am working through that has been causing me some discomfort, and it is reminiscent of my marriage a little bit. The friendship that I have is difficult in the fact that I thought I had healed. When you break up with somebody, especially if it's a divorce, you have a long time to kind of sort through the various emotions. And looking back, I thought that I had put away some of those feelings, and I thought that I had, recognized where I could have done better, should have done differently, and will do so, promise myself to do so in the future. But for some reason, when people say you can't heal in the place where you were hurt in the first place, I believe it's true, because at that particular moment, you're in so much pain you can't see the logic of it all, and there's no way to heal. But once you get some distance from it, once you've gone through a breakup or so, and you look back and see things, perspective is brilliant. You have hindsight in 2020, and you're able to see where you could have done things differently, and you promise yourself you're going to do differently in the new year, the new relationship, the next time, the next go around. And I really just thought that I had healed those things, but to be honest, and I know this logically, but I'd completely forgotten, you don't know how much you have healed until you're in the next relationship, you're in the next friendship, you're in the next situation where you're dealing with someone in an intimate manner, and you're hoping that they understand you. You're hoping that you're able to articulate. You're hoping that you're able to set boundaries. So what ended up happening was I realized that no, I have not healed. I have not changed. I have not leveled up in any way. I still have the same old coping mechanisms, the same fears that run my behavior, and the same belief systems that I am kind of holding on to, because it's still a fight or flight response. I haven't gotten to the fight yet. I'm still in flight. I would rather freeze and fly rather than to deal with anything that is uncomfortable and have difficult conversations, because I don't like having them. No one likes confrontation, least of all me, even though I do teach that it is necessary, and I know very well that it is necessary. And with that being said, I am proof that what happens is what you allow. So I have been dealing with a lot of my shadows. I have been digging into a lot of my own pain, and really turning all of my thoughts inward to figure out, what is it that I believe that causes me this discomfort? Because if you think about it, there are people out there that can sit in difficult situations, well, situations that I would deem difficult, and they are not fazed by them. Why is that? What do they believe that I don't believe? What is it that they see that I don't see? How come I can't be like that? If you think about the old swamis, the sages of old, the elders in our families, even a lot of them at the age that they have, matured to, the age that they have earned, living so long in life, nothing really phases them usually. Okay, some people really don't mature the way that they age, but some people are able to Be proud of where they have been. Realize that some things are just petty and not worth the effort, and that you can kind of move past those things and relieve yourself of unnecessary tension and stress. So, what is it that those people know that I don't know? That I am sitting here struggling with the idea that something needs to happen in a specific way and it's not happening in a specific way, and now I'm offended by it. So, the reason I decided to jump back on the mic, because I have been putting that off as well, is because I had an altercation this morning. There was a message that came up that had me questioning whether I should have, built this business at all or not. Now, I am someone who relies wholly on my intuition when it comes to my business. What do I think needs to be done next? What kind of material should I be putting out? What should I be teaching? How can I help people the best way that I know how? And I'm not professing to be some kind of, miracle guru. There is no magic bullet that I'm trying to sell. I'm not giving you, a spell to cast so that everything fits perfectly into your world. It's nothing like that at all. I'm actually getting you ready to do the dirty work that you have to do in order to let more light into your life. Because what do we do when we grow up? We're told what to do, what not to do, what's right, what's wrong. And, we'll be chastised and judged for certain behaviors if we're not careful. And so we start building up walls to prevent people from seeing who we really are, because we're not proud anymore. What you're telling me is the rule of the world suddenly means that I'm not eligible or worthy as I am. And so I start hiding parts of me away. I start pretending that those things don't exist within me. Those thoughts don't occur to me. I'm perfect. What are you talking about, right? And so this conversation this morning was with someone I barely know, and yet I respect her because I feel that she comes from a place of authenticity to a degree. She has earned her right to say that she is a master coach and that she has learned so many things. She's like overly qualified, and she runs a program to teach some of the things that I'm attempting to teach. Now, when I put my program out there for the world to see, I was already nervous. I am an introvert by nature. I am terrified that people are going to see through me, that they're going to think I'm a fake, that I'm not qualified enough, I'm not good enough, I don't know enough. But I also know that I am a master of the level that I'm at the moment. And I am not professing to be a master of anything beyond what I know at the moment. And when it gets to a point where I'm helping somebody who needs help that I am no longer qualified to help with, I will refer them to somebody that I know is capable. And so, after so much thought and deliberation to put myself out there and let people know that yes, I am teaching this particular course now, I get this comment saying, well, how could you possibly teach that? I hope you know what you're doing, because you got, people's lives in your hands. And I've been learning for 21 years, and I've been qualified for, thousands of lifetimes and so many different certifications. And I get where you're coming from. I do. And when I first saw the message, I was hurt, and I was thinking, wow, when you speak to me, you tell me that you respect where I'm coming from, and you appreciate the fact that I am able to speak and teach in such a way that people can really understand the concepts at hand. But when you message me in private, and this is for all of the interactions that I've had with this person, you judge me, you rush me, you make me seem like I am unworthy, and it all boils down to the fact that you continually highlight to me your vast education, the many years you've invested, the level that you have come up to. And it begs the question, have you healed with the work that you do, or did you learn all of the work to heal others? Now, what I am trying to get at is there are many, many coaches, many, many therapists, many, many people, professionals out there who go out, get the certification in order to say, hey, I can charge you this amount now because I've got the certification to prove it. And then there are people like me who have some of the certifications, the necessary ones, who have done all of the work, but not to test it and guinea pig it on other people. I've put myself through the ringer many, many times. I have turned everything that I have learned, the theories, the possibilities, the different modalities, I've turned all of them inwards onto myself to see if it actually works first. I'm one of those people that I'm not going to go out there and tell you to go use this particular recipe if I have myself not used it first. I'm not one of those people to say, oh my gosh, you should still get this speaker because the specifications are brilliant. unless I've actually used that speaker for a while, or that mic for a while, or that piece of equipment for a while to tell you that I have first-hand knowledge that this actually works. Now, you may think that I'm being overly dramatic. You may think that I've taken such offense and now I'm creating a podcast to shame somebody. No, it's not it at all. The question that was posed to me was, are you sure you know what you're doing because you have other people's lives in your hands? And my response was, yes, I'm not professing to be an expert that I know everything, because I have a lot of learning to do still. But what I am telling people is, if they can turn the attention inward and check where they're coming from, check why they feel upset, admit a couple things to themselves, that maybe they stand a chance of becoming impervious regardless of what's going on around them. Now, I'm not sure if the message got through or not, and I'm really not worried about it, because for the first time, when someone says something to me about whether I'm qualified or not, when someone accuses me or judges me for, how I go about doing my work, or how I present myself to the world, or what I chose to write in social media, because they are choices, I am not upset. I'm actually quite calm. I'm actually watching as she reveals to me her biggest insecurities. I've experienced this many times, and I've actually been through it myself. When I first became a parent, I was a step-parent first before I became a parent. And immediately I thought, okay, well, I know how to do this. I wrote down a list of things that I would never do as a child, when I became a parent, because I watched my mom and I felt terrible about the way she treated me. So I know what not to do. I know how to do this. I can figure this out. And when it came down to actually trying to get my stepkids to listen to me and to try and establish some semblance of a schedule, because they needed it, I needed it, we needed it for us to be able to get along, I found myself reverting back to methods that I had seen with my own two eyes. I turned into my mother. And I remember asking myself questions like, oh, no, you don't get to question me. I've earned this spot. You don't get to tell me that I can't do it like this and that I don't know enough to do it like this, because I've earned this spot. I've got blood, sweat, and tears. I got skin in the game. I'm an adult now. I'm big, you're little, you listen. This is how this goes. Until I tried it out on the people before me and realized, they're like, whatever, dude, you go ahead, but we're not listening anyway. I realized I had to change my tactics, and I had to check what it was that I was believing that was causing the tension. I forgot that they were human in their own right. I forgot that they were masters of their own experience in their life to date. They know a couple things too, just like I think I know a couple things. And to question or judge the way their logic works was wrong. Even though I have skin in the game, even though I have many, many years of life squeezed into my own before ever meeting them, they also have a legitimate idea of what they think the world is capable of, or how they would be treated if they behaved a certain way, because it's been reinforced or discouraged through behaviors around them. And so when I put aside the fact that even though I learned a specific way, even though I had earned the rank, I still didn't know enough. And I wasn't in any position to judge them, even though they were children, right? My experience was not invalidated by their difference of experience. My way of thinking did not become less or more because they thought differently. It just became, okay, you think this way, let me learn your logic. Because I think this way, let me teach my logic. And between the two of us, we'll find a hybrid version that helps both of us. So when I encounter people now who question and judge me and want to throw all of their qualifications in my face, I simply ask, if you have done all of this work and you've learned all of these things, my question is, have you also applied to yourself? Or are you accumulating knowledge and tricks and tips and methodologies to only use on the people around you? Because I made sure to master myself first, so that I could understand what happens in the process of questioning my ability, wondering if I'm sane or not, allowing myself to think the terrible things that I do think sometimes, and then later on questioning, where did that come from? Did it come from outside of me? Where did I first hear that? Is that okay? Can I change this? Because when you master yourself is when you unlock so much more wisdom for you to easily share to other people. So, with that being said, stay tuned. There is a lot of content about to drop because I am going to recap everything that I wrote down in my year 40, 2021, on a day-to-day basis, because while I did not have the chance to sit on a mic and talk about it, I did note it down for me to refer to later. So if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to apologize right now for disappearing off my podcast for so long, but I'm back and I'm ready to be in a calm place as I teach you what I've discovered and question a couple of things like I usually do. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.